All right, guys. So good morning. Welcome to Office Hours here. My name is Joaquin Elizondo, the creator of the Hollywood Editing Mentor program. You can find that at hollywoodeditingmentor.com. And, obviously, there's a lot of regulars here. But for those that are new to this, I do this every once in a while just to kind of make myself available, answer questions, and also so the community can connect. Right. This is also I like to see it as a networking opportunity for people, or also just simply we just want to hang out, chat, talk shop for a bit, talk life, whatever it is. This is a safe space to do so. So happy you are here. We're and basically it's I just I'm here to answer questions. Anything that you want to discuss, anything you want to ask about editing, post-production. Career advice, health, wellness stuff, anything, We don't necessarily always only have to talk about editing. There's so many things that we can discuss. We're here to help each other out. It's a community. So I welcome any questions, any topics you want to discuss. But yeah, no, you know what, guys, I've been busy, man. I've been busy. I've been working on a show, and I try to focus on it. When these things, when it ramps up, what I mean by is turning my editor's cut, working with directors, producers. It's crunch time, so I really try to focus on that, and that's what I've been doing. Finally got to lock my episode. Multiple versions of a lock, of course. But it was great. It was a great experience. Again, I always learn a lot. Every project I work on, I learn a lot about editing, more than anything, storytelling. Because I love working with directors and producers, collaborating with them. Because again, going back to this idea of feedback, you just get it's just great hearing these other ideas from like writers and directors, right? Producers. They see things differently, but it's cool when they all see your ideas, right? That's a collaborative process. Just sharing ideas and trying things, but always being open to trying things, right? I mean, it's I'll say this, and I'm gonna eventually make a post about this, but a lot of times it's directors and producers want to try something, and you might even think to yourself, you know what, that's not going to work. But don't say it's not going to. Just try it. And it might work. You'll be surprised. And if it doesn't work, well, at least you tried, and more than anything, you showed them that you're willing to try. You're not just right off the bat being like, hey, no, this is not going to work. No, let's just try it. They probably know it's not going to work, but just try it. All right, you never know until you try. But yeah, so I've been doing that. Had a good 4th of July. Got to spend some time in Mexico, and been hanging out with family and enjoying the summer. Been going to a lot of baseball games. I love the Padres. They've been doing great this season, and it's been good to see things kind of get back to normal. But of course now things are kind of iffy again. But anyways, just been cool at least hanging out with people. But no, getting back into Hollywood Editing Mentor. Been gonna be doing a lot more tutorials soon. Working on one right now. More podcast guests. Gonna kind of change up that podcast format a little bit. Maybe do more kind of like quick bites. Quick episodes, short episodes, and just provide more content. So definitely gonna get back into it. Derek teaching himself Avid right now. How's that going? Derek? What do you liking it? Not liking it? Getting used to it? I went from Final Cut Pro 7 to Avid, and that was a quite a bit of a learning curve. And it took me a while to learn Avid, I gotta say, because I spent so many years on Final Cut 7. So yeah, it was No, but finally took, then I started, that's what I've been using now for the past, sheesh, I don't know, like, dang, what's it been now? Almost like 7 years. And I use Premiere at home for kind of like do stuff like for Hollywood Editing Mentor. I do that on Premiere. And I gotta say, I have not used Final Cut X. I use Resolve a little bit. I really like it. I really like Resolve, but all the work that I do, the my day job, it's all Avid. So let's see what everyone's up to. George Lopez. I have been getting some interviews for reality assistant editing, coming from working steady for over 12 years as an editor in different broadcast media. I feel nervous taking the leap, taking a gig for a few months. Anyone else have some advice or stories from when they took their first gig? Did you get your next gig right away? Dude, I can talk about this at length. So basically, yeah, man, I feel you. I get it, because I had worked in you and I, George, we worked on the same stuff. I mean, essentially, worked in Spanish language media, in news and promos and all that stuff. I had done that for, I think, about 8 years in San Diego, and then I moved to New York. I just left. And I knew, well, it was very likely going to be a freelancer. I knew that, right? I had always been working steadily. I was always a staff worker. Went to New York, and then suddenly I'm a freelancer. Like, I'll admit, man, that was tough for me. That was hard. Going from a staff worker to a freelancer was very difficult for me emotionally, mentally. It was rough. I went to New York. I didn't get a job for like a good 6 months. So then after 6 months, I got my first freelance gig. And it was scary still, because, they would, I just started out. So they would call me a day here, day there, but I guess what, I started learning that, yes, I started just getting other gigs, right? People pass along your name. And I started feeling more comfortable with it, and also just became better at managing my finances. I think, because I got to admit, prior to going to New York, I was very bad with managing my finances. I've had some money issues in the past, honestly, because I just didn't manage it well. But I guess being a freelancer taught me to be good at managing my money, and I learned a lot from it. And honestly, like when I saw that, man, I got to a point where I was just like not even showing my resume, right? Because people just what they would do is just, hey, man, I can't make it tomorrow, or for the gig they offered it to me, but I can't make it. You want it? Sure. And then they just called or whatever, emailed, and you're in, right? And then so I noticed that, and then eventually in New York, I didn't stop working. I was turning down work. There's so much of it, and I think it's same in LA. There's so much work. So I know that. So basically, it's like, yeah, it is scary at first. It is very scary, especially coming from being a staff worker. But you gotta trust that there's plenty of freelance work, and also and then focus a lot on networking. That's what I didn't do that so much in New York. I could have been better at networking, and I know you're doing it, George. So you'll be fine, man. But I get it. It is scary. It is scary in the beginning. I think it's part of the process. But like I said, you'll learn that, yes, little by little, you'll get other jobs. And then also I think it'll force you to be better about managing your money. I don't know how you are. I mean, I'm not saying you are bad at it, but I'm just saying that I think that's also part of the process. Part of being a freelancer is getting to your finances in line and being good at that. So definitely what I learned from it. You'll be fine, dude. There's a lot of work in LA. Jonathan, hey, thanks for listening to the podcast, man. Yeah, Dean Gonzalez, man, the latest episode. He's great. I love that guy. He had a really interesting career. Really cool stories about working with a lot of musical artists, and following your dreams, and learning or being okay with sucking. I remember he said that it's like, hey, it's fine to suck. we're all so afraid to make mistakes, and but you got to make them. That's part of the learning process. So, but anyways, check it out, guys. Dean Gonzalez, he edited What Drives Us, the recent documentary directed by Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters, which is great as well. Episode 19 of the Hollywood Editing Mentor podcast. We'll get back. I'll get back to more guests working on that. We'll have that up soon enough. Derek says it's going good with Avid. I'm in between DaVinci Resolve and Avid. I like DaVinci. Speaking of Dean Gonzalez, in that episode 19 of the podcast, talks about editing the documentary What Drives Us with DaVinci Resolve. He taught himself how to use it, and then like, he didn't know how to use it. They actually, when they hired him, I think they said, well, you have to use a DaVinci. So he went off and learned it, and then edited the project, edited the documentary. And he goes in depth, talks in depth about using DaVinci Resolve. So check it out again, episode 19 with Dean Gonzalez of the Hollywood Editing Mentor podcast. Chris Kobe, learning Avid is taking me a while, but working on a practice short film from EditStuck. Shout out to Misha. Getting there with a decent sequence. I'm not trying to figure out how to incorporate score, where to just add a beat and places where I should maybe keep the score in the background while there's dialogue. Any tips you can share? Seems like it's a feel thing, maybe just trial and error. Yeah, I mean, I think, I gotta say, I kind of, I don't know if it's just been because experience now or what, but I cut everything dry, right? For example, like as I'm cutting scenes, I cut everything dry. I don't really kind of see where I'm gonna put music till kind of start putting scenes together, right? Building out like sequences. But sometimes there's like scenes that it's like, all right, this clearly is gonna need music, and some obvious ones are like kind of where maybe like an action sequence or whatever, stuff like that where there's a lot of movement, a lot of action. And also, like, I mean, it could also be like some like emotional beats, a scene with, two actors just having a dialogue scene, And to me, yeah, it is feel. It honestly, it is feel. I don't think that it's like, and a lot of it just editing is feel, but I don't, I'm not like kind of like, well, I don't overthink it too much, right? I'm not just kind of like trying to see where do I put music, To me, it's just kind of like, just get a feel for the scene. If there's like some type of emotional beat happening. Sometimes it could even be like, you know what, man, like these performances or however they shot it or whatever is just not working out, not giving me what I want, and maybe you need to then add music to help you, right? Because it's just your performances or the stuff that you're working with is just not working to give you that emotion that you're looking for. And so then you're like, well, I'm going to enhance it with music. I try to stay away from music. I only use it where I need to. I don't like getting carried away, honestly. And so, and sometimes it's or it could be a pacing thing, right? So sometimes when I lay out, say, an episode or a short film or whatever, you're like, well, I don't know, maybe it's been a while without music, right? I heard something. I need something to pace it up. I need something to pick things up here. So I'll kind of go by that, right? By rhythm, just by again, I guess feel, but it's more like by rhythm. Where do I need to pace things up? Is the pacing kind of slowing down? Well, I don't really want to maybe cut things quicker, maybe. So then maybe how about if I add music, right? So those are all kind of some tips, and that's how I approach it, honestly. But I guess don't try to overthink it, and don't try to force things. Sometimes things don't need music, But again, look, I recommend, watching your favorite films, your TV shows, and see how they incorporate music. But I guess, yeah, don't overthink it. Feel, go by your gut, and your sense of pacing, rhythm, Chris Colby talking about music, incorporating score. Says this helps a lot. There's this emotional scene that seems to need more, but I will use it sparingly. Yeah, no, look, you just, don't, some things do need music. I mean, look, I've been on shows that want more. It just kind of, it depends. Like some shows will want, like, for example, wall-to-wall music. And if that's what they want, that's what they want, right? I personally like to stay away from it. Now, if there's a show or a project that needs it, and it needs it, again, I guess it really goes by feel, right? There's no rule. But I always try to, like I said, I cut things dry. I'll have a whole, let's say talk about a 60-minute show episode. I'll cut it all dry. When I assemble it, it'll have no music. And I do it on purpose because I want to really focus on the story. Because it's very easy to go by music and like to I feel like I'm cheating almost, right? So I like to cut everything dry, really focus on getting that story right, and then go in and add music. And then of course adding music is going to change your cut, but it's but you start molding it, right? But sometimes when I am cutting things dry, it's like I'll put a marker, like when I say this is definitely going to need music. And sometimes I put a marker where I put music ? Meaning that does it need music? I don't know, but just I like to put markers, right? I like to just keep markers so I can visually see where I'm thinking about music. And then as you see markers, you'll see kind of how things are paced, right? You'll see kind of how you visually see how much music you're putting in and where it's at, and you'll see kind of like the kind of pace out this episode or the project or short film, whatever, right? But it's constant practice, man. Edward, doing better, getting back into building relationships with scripted ads and editors. I'm assuming AEs. Feeling the momentum starting to build again towards getting that first scripted gig, working with an editor on practicing sound design. That's good. Yeah, man. Right now it's we're going, July, summer. Things are a little slowing down, but I would say picking back up for maybe August, September, October. But there's a lot of stuff coming up, no doubt about it. Maybe even at the end of July. I know stuff that's coming up at the end of July. And also, it's cool now on the union webpage, there is a job board. So if you are a union member, you'll actually get those notifications to your email inbox. But we have that now, I think, thanks to Sharon and that group of people. There's a job board now on the union website. Yeah, I think, like I said, things are ramping up for sure. I think we'll see a lot of stuff in the late summer, early fall. A lot of people still working from home. A lot of people still working from home. Anyone working at an office? I'm still working from home, and I don't know when I'll have to be back in an office. I know a couple people that have to go. They're doing kind of like the hybrid thing where they, do maybe 3 days at home and then 2 days at the office, but not a lot. Vanessa says I've had to use ScriptSync often. It also gives you the ability to be the person that knows the film inside and out. Yeah, that's for sure. That's the thing. I'm also like just watching dailies as an assistant, right? You just know, the project, whatever it is, TV episode, film, whatever, inside and out. You know everything. Editor or you're in a session maybe with producers or something, and people are asking, hey, have you seen this? I thought I had this or this and that, and be good to know you can provide some information. Vanessa still working from home. Back to office in October on snowfall. Oh wow, okay, so there you go. So you're going back to the office in October. I mean, sounds about right. I would suspect that. I mean, you never know. I mean, but I was gonna say maybe my next project I could see myself going back to an office maybe, but who knows? I mean, I know some friends that are getting on new projects that they're gonna work at home, till the end of the year. I mean, I do miss being in an office. I mean, I do miss seeing my friends and more than anything, like editing or collaborating with directors and producers. I mean, we've been using Evercast just like everyone else, and it's great. It's great. It's not perfect, but it's just not the same as being in the same room with other people. But I do enjoy working from home too. I gotta say, I vote for the hybrid version. Facebook user is working from home to at least January. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I've been hearing. George Lopez, how was it working on the Hot Zone? It was great, man. I love those people. It was a great project. Can't wait for you all to see it. And it was a great experience. Like I said, good people. And that's what I look for in projects, right? It's one of the things, and it's very important to me, is to work with good people. And I got to do that here on the Hot Zone. Yeah, it was I loved it. I had a great time. Hybrid all the way. Hybrid, yes. I agree. I watched Mayor of Easttown. I finished watching it last week. And this week I watched the Tomorrow War. Have you guys seen it? Any of that? What did you guys think? I've been getting into more series now. Watching more. That's the thing because I go through a period of like kind of a lot of people ask me, how do you keep your, how do you stay creative? How do you find motivation? For me, it's a lot of watching, films, TV shows, listening to music, all that. That's how I get inspired and get motivated. And so when I'm feeling kind of stuck, whatever, that's my go-to. And so, yeah, Mayor of Easttown was great. I really loved it. Tomorrow War, it had some good action sequences. Those aliens were freaky as hell. But it was entertaining. Tomorrow War was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Anyone been to the movies? Mayor of Easttown, pretty good. Like the cutting. Yeah, Amy Duddleston. Obsessed. Edward says he's obsessed with Loki right now. About to start Motherland Fort Salem season 2. I've been hearing great things about Loki. I will admit I'm not. I don't watch a lot of the Marvel superhero, all that stuff. But I hear this one is pretty good. I've seen the reviews; they're pretty great. And I think I want to give more of this Marvel stuff, or just comic book stuff, more of a try. I'm open to it. A Facebook user says, I saw F9 at theaters opening weekend. I would go see it. I want to go see it. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out, man. Let's see. Chris Kobe, you've been learning about the ways editors prep for a new scripted project. Joaquin, what is your process like? Do you do script breakdowns, character summaries, or maybe that's too formal, not needed? I do not. I just jump into it. I read the script, and then here we go. For the most part, I'll make notes. What I like to do is when I get the script is maybe think about so we're reading scenes. I start thinking about pacing, right? Start thinking maybe about stuff like transitions between scenes, maybe even music. What type of music, right? Maybe I can, for example, the Hot Zone, right? There was a previous season of the Hot Zone, and also listen maybe to other similar, scores from similar films like Contagion, maybe, or Outbreak, or maybe some horror stuff, stuff like that. As an Here goes the music again. I used to do this more as an assistant, but I'm so into audio and sound that I still do it anyways now as an editor. I also think about sound design as I'm going through the script, right? So all these things are, either I'll think about it or I'll actually make notes on it, right? But I gotta admit, like for the most part, I'm just thinking about it. But that's it. I mean, like I'm trying to think. Sometimes they'll send you like say reference materials, right? I mean, like other shows, they'll maybe before you start shooting, kind of send you like a lookbook or something from like say other films or reference stills. There's sometimes there's tone meetings, of course. Well, you're here kind of the production talk about their strategy or for shooting, or the plan for shooting an episode, for example. But me personally, like that's what I mentioned. Like I just read the script and kind of start thinking about all these things that I mentioned, and sometimes even writing down notes. One thing I've learned, though, talking about music again, sometimes like you'll go work on like on an episode or on a show where like they'll have, if it's like let's say this is season 3 of a show, like they'll have the previous season's score, for example, right? And so they're like, maybe, all right, we're gonna stick to this, and so that's easy, right? But sometimes you'll be using like other or scores from other films, and you'll have this huge like library, right? So I kind of start thinking about I do kind of get it more into the music, and because I want to save time. I don't want to be like when I get to scoring, temp scoring. Like I don't want to just be clicking through all kinds of things. That's the one thing I don't like about choosing music. I love music. I like temp scoring, but I don't like clicking through stuff. And so I want to narrow that down and kind of reduce the time I spend on that. So I maybe start getting into at least, the soundscape, and see what I'm leaning towards. Obviously, once I get to scoring, it might change. It is probably going to change, and I'll try other things, but I gain some ground, I guess. I mean, look, I'll say this. Look, and everyone is different, right? I don't, maybe unless it's a project that needs it. I just don't overthink things, right? I just kind of jump in, right? I don't. There's no rules to things, right? It's just like you kind of figure out what works for you. For example, if you script breakdown, character summaries, if that works for you, by all means, right? Me, I'm someone that just kind of likes to just dive in for the most part, do what works for you. Yeah, for sure, George. I'm looking forward to that one as well. That should be coming out soon, if it's not already, or tomorrow, I think. Um, yes, definitely looking forward to that one. Facebook user is watching Underground Railroad. Yeah, I want to check that one out. And Small Axe on Amazon Prime. Great storytelling. Small Axe, I got to check that out. Thanks for sharing that, because I'm always looking for new stuff to watch. Hey, guys, and like I said, I'm doing a lot more. Gonna be jumping back on producing content for HollywoodEditingMentor.com. So I want to hear from you. If there's anything you guys want to see, you want a tutorial, or you want me to talk about something, or there's someone you want me to get on the podcast. By all means, contact me. Some of you have my email. If not, you can go on the HollywoodEditingMentor.com and go on the contact page, and or any feedback. Again, going back to talking about feedback, something that you're not liking or whatever, like, let me know. I want to hear from you, because I want to better serve you and provide the best information possible. So anything, let me know. Hit me up. Send me an email, or go to the contact page on HollywoodEditingMentor.com. I'm also going to be doing. I know a lot of people. I think how the afternoon tea sessions are better for most people. So I'll do one of those soon. I'll still do the office hours, because I'm trying to do one for some people can make the morning, and some people can afternoon is better for them. But bottom line is, it's kind of gonna get back into doing these live virtual events, doing more of them. You're right, Jonathan. Thanks for the reminder. I am getting back into one-on-one mentorships. People have been already hitting me up about them. So, I haven't made the official announcement, but I guess I'd say I'm starting now. I am taking. I like to do a 30-minute consultation. I like to chat up with mentees. Chat it up and talk about what their needs are, what they're looking for, and see how I can help them, right? And that's free, of course. And all you got to do is hit me up. Let me know you're interested. We'll set that up. It's through Zoom or a phone call, and we can talk about what you're looking for in one-on-one mentorship. But yeah, those are open now, I suppose. You're hearing it here first, and so. But I'll make a formal announcement soon. But definitely, if anyone is interested, hit me up. Again, you have my email, or go through the HollywoodEditingMentor.com website, or HollywoodEditingMentor.com, and hit up and go on the contact page there. Yeah, looking forward to getting back into one-on-one mentorship. Love working with you guys, and just really excited to get back into that. Edward, what tea are you drinking lately? Oh man, I'm drinking a bunch of stuff. There's this one. I buy a lot of stuff, tea from this place called August Tea. I think they're up in LA, and they do really cool blends. There's one, I think, like this one rooibos that I have. That's like pistachio and lime. It's fairly refreshing. And some other green tea that I had. It was called I remember it's called like Ventura Highway as the name of the tea or the blend. But it's, again, very light and refreshing. Obviously now, because of the summer getting hot, and so I've been kind of getting away from like the more like kind of obviously like pumpkin kind of caramel kind of heavier teas. I think I think it's because it's getting hot, man. So, and as with coffee, I start then slowly getting into the iced version of both things, right? Um, so, what are you drinking? You're welcome, Jonathan. Yeah, I remember I did that survey a while back about what people are looking for, and that was great. Definitely got some good feedback. But this community has been growing, and so I want to hopefully meet more people from the community but with these events, and get some feedback. What are people looking for? I know a lot of people, the majority are looking to get into scripted film. But others are want to get into documentaries, commercials, stuff like that. But beyond that, as far as like what people want to work on, I just want to would like to hear just kind of what you're looking for. What kind of help do you need? What do you look at? What kind of advice is it just technical stuff? Do you need help like on resumes? I mean, like, do you need kind of emotional support? Because like I said, I talk about that a lot. It's like sometimes it's like we need just someone to talk to, right, and bounce off ideas off one another, stuff like that. And so, like I said, hit me up, send me an email, hit me up through the contact page on HollywoodEditingMentor.com. Facebook user, starting to drink some sencha in the afternoon and some peach ginger herbal tea in the evening. Hoping to start getting some green teas that are good cold now that it's super hot lately. Yeah, I agree. Peach ginger herbal tea sounds good. Sencha, I haven't tried much sencha. I'm really curious about it. But yeah, no, it's the thing. It's like even with coffee, I'm drinking less of it, especially in the afternoon. I mean, I drink it in the morning, hot, of course. And then in the afternoon, I would go, get a latte or a cappuccino, and now I'm just like not, I just don't desire that. I want the cold brew. And so I think I'm leaning more to that with regards to tea. Hey Vanessa, thank you. Interested in finding and being part of conversations about story and facing a blank timeline motivators. Cool. Yeah, it's great. Definitely be great to talk about it. But thanks for sharing, providing some input, some feedback. That's one thing I've been focusing on a lot. Not that I wasn't before, but I'm just saying, like, I think for me, what has been, working with, or the more and more I work or collaborate with directors and producers, I just really dive more into this, story, getting better at story. I've been putting a lot of energy into that, becoming a better storyteller. And also kind of anticipating things. You just start learning as you go what kind of people are going to react to. And it's just, you kind of had to feel it out. And I'm talking about, like, again, with people you collaborate with. There's so much to learn, honestly. And that's the thing. It's about, editing. It's like, it's not only about the technical stuff and cutting and music. It's these relationships with the people you collaborate with. A lot of stuff that they do not teach you anywhere else. And I definitely, that's why I like to talk about it here. And I'll definitely be talking a lot more about it with podcast guests, and also me doing kind of more, maybe, like I said, advice videos, maybe some quick kind of short podcast episodes. But I base it on my experience, right? I mean, like, hey, look, we definitely, like I always say, technical stuff is very important, very important. No doubt about it. and I'm not gonna stop talking about it. But it's like things about like story and relationships and cutting room politics. Or things like say, like you're facing a blank timeline. How do you get motivated? What do you do? That happens to me. There's times where I'm like, I don't, you know what? I'm done for today. I'm moving along. I'm shutting it down because I cannot think right now. I'm not motivated. I'll come back tomorrow, and that's fine. But it happens. Things flying around. It happens. No, for sure, it happens to me. I lose motivation at times. Yeah, Derek, it is daunting sometimes to see a blank timeline. Of course, what has helped me is just putting something on a timeline and starting there. I agree with you. To me, it's like I just need to put something in the timeline, right? I need to start things off, kick things off, and knowing that I'm just going to come back to it. But because sometimes I just need to get warmed up. And that means simply putting a take on the timeline. That take is not probably going to be what I'm going to keep, but at least I'm starting, getting the engine started, right? Getting warmed up. Like what I'll do is, like, for example, I'll watch the dailies, and then I'll start cutting the scene. Let's say a dialogue scene. I'll just go line by line, start cutting the scene, right? And it's just kind of like a rough cut. It's just not. I'm not even really looking at. I mean, like I'm picking obviously the stuff that I like, but I'm not focused on finding the perfect performance. It's just more of a motivator, a way to get me going and get my brain warmed up and thinking. Especially say if it's like my first scene of the day, right? And then once I'm in there, then I start going back to other takes and molding. But it's this idea of kind of getting things started and not just looking at a blank timeline, being like, where do I start? I just need to put something in it. Anything. I know I'm not going to keep it. Or maybe I will. I don't know. But at least have something in that timeline. That's my approach. George, it may seem intimidating sometimes with a lot of footage, but then I think I had to be more daunting cutting film or tape. Oh, I mean, I got to do it a little bit in college. In some classes, we still do 60 millimeter film. But man, like, for example, like, my last show I worked on, like thinking, let's say, of just like cutting that on a film. Oh my God, that's crazy. But big up to those people all those editors, assistants that worked with film back in the day, man. Warriors. Chris Kobe. I love all your questions, Chris. In terms of the typical show calendar, what times of the year would you say are the most busy for starting scripted editing jobs? I guess spring. I mean, I find the time I've been doing it, I find that, for example, like the fall, like August, September, October, even November, you get a lot of stuff. That's been kind of like in my experience, my personal experience, that's been a time where you see the most, the most jobs, the most shows. And then after that, I would think like, maybe around February, March, but I've started stuff in January. But I think that's when I start seeing a lot of jobs being posted. It's around, like kind of like early spring, late winter, early spring, and then in the fall. The summer has always kind of been kind of slow. But then with this, with the pandemic, I started seeing a lot of things kind of late spring, early summer, So it's a little bit, things got thrown off a bit with the pandemic, but I still think though that the fall thing still sticks. Where you're going to, I already know things are ramping up. I know of a lot of shows starting from either the end of July all the way to October right now. I've seen a lot of stuff. I'm listening to this while collecting pieces for my recap. I build them backwards. Yeah, that's definitely a strategy. I mean, or that's what I sometimes with scenes. I don't necessarily start at the beginning. I'll start the middle or the end and work my way backwards, forwards, whatever. So yeah, that's another thing. I don't start necessarily at the beginning, like the first line. Sometimes, for example, like as you're watching dailies, you'll see that a director, for example, does let's say a camera move on a certain line or a certain beat, right? You're like, okay, I need to have this in there, right? Is this one specific camera move? So maybe I'll start off with that. I'll plop that in. That's maybe in the middle of the scene, and then I'll branch out from there, right? But yeah, whatever. Again, it's whatever works for you. These are just ideas. I like hearing from people what they like to do, because then it just gives me an idea. Like, maybe I'll try that, right? But there's again earlier talking about music and all that and the use of music. There's just no rules. For me, at least, that's my personal view on it. Find where it works best for you. In the end, you're trying to build this story, build this episode, this film. Do it the way that works best for you. As far as like building it, start editing, about assembling, for example, right? How you get to that editor's cut, delivering the editor's cut, I don't know how you're going to get there, but just get there. Whatever works best for you. And now I like to hear, reading articles or listening to podcasts, other podcasts with editors and see how they approach things. Because I'm like, I've never thought of that. Let me, my next one, I'll give it a try, see if that works for me. And then I'll try it and it doesn't work for me. And, so you got to try things out. 10 o'clock. It's been great. I'll take another question or two before we wrap this up. It's been great. I've been getting a lot of questions. It was awesome. I love how you guys are participating. And like I said, I'm going to be doing more of this, making myself more available to you guys through these live events. And I have more informative content up on HollywoodEditingMentor.com. Is the music too loud? I want to have some chill background music. But yeah, you gave me actually, talking today and getting your questions and having these discussions gave me a lot of ideas of what kind of videos I'd like to do next. I think I do want to focus a lot more on creating video content and video and then also the podcast. But I think, definitely from I got a lot of ideas from this. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Facebook user, the music is actually good for vibe. Yeah, no, that's it. I know. That's I kind of want to have it in the background, but I hope it just wasn't too loud. Speaking of music, is there anything like new music that you guys listen to? I that's something I don't keep up with. I listen to a lot of scores now, and then my good old '90s music. But any new stuff? What are some exciting artists that are out there, or maybe stuff I should check out? Hey, Chris, you're welcome. I love all your questions, man. Okay, cool, great, thanks. I didn't know. Yeah, I don't know how loud it was. But actually, that's the thing. I'm gonna actually when we end this, I'm gonna go work on a video that I'm preparing for you guys for next week. I'm gonna get into more. I get a lot of requests for sound design stuff. So I'm gonna start kind of doing some of those. Getting some kind of quick videos to get you thinking about sound design, maybe even music, Chris. But of course, a call comes in right now and interrupts the music. George Lopez, would be cool if you all cut a scene from Edit Stock and then you could review it on a live session like this. That is a great idea, George. That is a great idea. Yeah. Would you guys be down for that? I'd be totally up for reviewing stuff, or not only that, but if you have, like, say, any projects that you're working on, I definitely would review them here. Just like Derek, he posted his video the other day. That's great, but I could also do it here, and we could all watch and talk about it. I think that's a great idea, George. And speaking of, too, if anything else you want to share, your resume. We can dissect your resume, kind of go over it. Are you willing to do that too? Paolo Grassini, check out the InCheapsClothingHiFi.com to discover new music. Thank you. I will do just that. Paolo. Check out the band Snarky Puppy if you haven't. I will. Check that out. Great. I love Edit Stock. It helps me put a reel together in between projects. Yes, Edit Stock is great. Shout out to Misha Tenenbaum over there. I am going to be doing a lot more stuff with Edit Stock, partnering up with them and using their footage to do these tutorials. Vanessa, I approach sound design by thinking of scoring with Foley first. That's a good way to think about it, for sure. Yeah, I'll get into more sound design. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot more of those videos because a lot of people request it, and I think music as well. People want to know how to, maybe get some advice on how to, do score or do temp scoring. Yeah, one thing, and I'll talk more about this later, but I think this was my approach always to when I was an assistant, and then this is what I tell my assistant editors with regards to sound design is, like, don't get carried away with it, because I'm always thinking about time. I'm thinking about time management, and I'm thinking about, like, we need to get this thing. I'm all about keeping things moving, finishing things, keeping moving. I don't want to be my my editor's cut, be stressed out and then staying late. So I'm always about, like, let's keep it moving. Don't focus too much on all the specific things, all the specific sounds. Create what is essential to the story and the scene. Anything extra, anything bonus, any specifics, we can get back to it eventually, but just don't get carried away, because I've seen it, and I think I used to be like, because I love sound. I love sound design. And so when I was an assistant, like when I first started out, I would spend so much time on getting everything, every little sound effect, putting in every little sound effect, and then I was like, oh my God, I still got like 3 more scenes to go. And so it was like, I learned that it was, look, just be efficient, put down the essentials, and then we'll work our way back. That's my approach. Oh, well, It's been great, guys. It's been great. It's been great getting back into this. I needed it. I needed to get back to talking with you guys, hanging out, getting back into Hollywood Editing Mentor, and I appreciate your patience. But Hollywood Editing Mentor is back, and I'm so happy to be back. To not only hanging out with you guys and connecting you guys, helping you guys out, but just creating more content, hopefully inspire people, and help you out in achieving your goals, whatever they may be, whether you're just starting out or you're kind of more, advanced in your career and you're just looking to kind of advance it even more, right? So we're going to do that here at HollywoodEditingMentor.com. Thank you. Honestly, thank you. Appreciate all of you for being here. This was great. I'm so happy to be back and looking to just be around more and serving you more any way that I can. Like I said, remember, hit me up, send me an email or hit me up through the contact page on HollywoodEditingMentor.com. Any feedback, any ideas that you have, anything that you want to see as far as content, as videos, as tutorials, any podcast guests, people you want me to talk to, or anything you want me to share, any advice videos, right? It doesn't have to be all technical, right? It doesn't have to be all about like, show me how to do this on Avid, or doesn't talk about maybe other let's say cutting room politics, or how to build better relationships, things to look out for in the cutting room, stuff like that. Always want to hear from you, or anything that I can improve on. Definitely let me know. George, great seeing you. Thanks for being here, man. And you too, have a good day. Right, everyone. Thanks again. I wish you an excellent Thursday. It's going to be great. Stay cool. Vanessa, hey, thank you for being here. Appreciate all your comments and your advice. And I hope to see you again. Chris, hey, man, thank you. Thank you. We'll see you soon, and keep sending your questions. I think next time I know you asked me about Narcos, and I might do like a little kind of speak about a scene next time. Here. Derek, hey, thank you, man. Happy to have you here. See you at the next one. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Have an excellent day. Thanks for being here. Once again, my name is Joaquin Elizondo, the creator of the Hollywood Editing Mentor program. You can find it at HollywoodEditingMentor.com, of course. Oh, Hector is here. You made it. Hey, thanks for listening in the car, Hector. All right, and this will be available to watch. It's being recorded and it'll be available to watch later today. All right, that's it. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you once again. Good to see everyone again. Glad to be back. Have an excellent Thursday. I'll see you at the next office hours or afternoon tea session. Hasta luego.